I have started a new series for my YouTube channel where I am taking interviews of my favorite writers and poets and people whom I am reading or whom I am inspired by. So this series is basically to provide me inspiration to write as well as to learn about the process and the inspiration that triggers others to pen down their thoughts and write something. So today we have Christine Hall with us, who is one of my favorite writers. So let's go over the interview. And if you have any other ideas, or if you have any, any other, if you know somebody who would love to be interviewed, then I would love to have them on my channel. So yeah, let's just go over the interview. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Fiza Abbas. Today I have with me a wonderful writer and one of the kindest people I have met online, Christine Hall. Christine Hall was raised in a trailer at the edge of the Adirondacks by troubadours and cultist pornographers. Inculcated with American mythology tool, girl calendars, Bible stories, science fiction, she built on this education while hitching across the continent. Now at home in the Nashville arts community, Christine organizes and hosts the Poetry in the Brew Open Mic. Her work has appeared in Out and About Nashville, several anthologies, Be About It, Zine, on MTA buses, and on stages with the Yoni Pearl monologues, and a lot more. She's a mother, advocate, certified permaculture designer, and curator of Studio 66. Let's welcome her. Thank you so much, Christine, for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Fiza. Very grateful to be here with you.
So let's start from the beginning. Tell me, how did you get into poetry and what made you realize you wanted to be a poet?
Okay. For some people, I feel, all right, my belief is that we all are artists. We're all creators. We live in a creative world. And yeah, to fend off the destruction or even to subvert it into creative ends is a duty. And it's a joy of children. So yeah, that's where I found mine was as a child. I came from a creative family. I had a long walk to the bus stop. So when I was 6 years old, I spent that year composing a song on the way home from the bus. Whenever we did poetry units in school, I was fascinated by that form of language. It seemed like a native language to me, just fit with the way I thought. And I unintentionally rhyme a lot. It was something I spent a long time trying to avoid. And then I settled on, if the rhyme comes naturally, if it's the word that really belongs there, go with it. It's the rhymes that you find yourself reaching for that I'm like, strike that. If it comes, it comes. If it rhymes, it rhymes. It has a reason, but don't ever reach for a word that rhymes arbitrarily. So yeah, I have enjoyed poetry as a language, as a form of communication my entire life. And I don't think it's limited to consider proper poetry. Like it can be found in art and song lyrics, and really there's a poem in every moment if you inhabit it fully.
When was your first poem published and how did it feel like getting your work published for the first time?
Oh, let me think about that. Aside from like the fourth grade compendium where we all published poems, the first time I got published, oh, okay, I remember. It was a zine in my teens called Scattered. And it just art from all over the world, poetry. The common thread for us is it was people who were raised Jehovah's Witnesses, which was a Christian cult in which I was raised and left when I was about 16. But that was about the time I got my first poem published, and it was in that zine called Scattered. So, and that felt incredible. It felt amazing to be connected to people who, I hadn't met in person, but I could feel the resonance in their work. I could, pull on that common thread and find, all the interweavings. It was enlivening. It woke me up to a certain extent and helped me face myself and not feel so alone.
I do remember the name of that poem.
Truths. It was called Truths. The Jehovah's Witnesses call their religion the truth with a capital T. So the poem I wrote was called Truths.
Nice. Sounds good. So, what do you usually draw your inspiration from? What motivates you to write?
Processing life. There's always an overflow of information. What I was saying about inhabiting that moment when all your senses are peaked, it's so much information coming in, and then we've got the spirit of the staircase where afterwards you think of the things you would have said. For me, I need to be able to catalog the thoughts, the reactions, the expressions I wish I could have made, or kind of cull it into this is the viewpoint that I have decided on. Or sometimes it'll come out and surprise me. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I felt that way. In writing, I'm able to process a lot of the things that overwhelm me in the moment. And I like to be able to capture that and communicate it, connect through that, because I feel, as I do with art, that we are essentially communicating an emotion and experience. And through that connection, through that resonance, it's sustaining. It's important to me to be able to recognize myself in another and recognize others in myself.
Nice, nice. What kind of movies and books do you like to watch or read in order to write?
Oh, I love reading the poetry from local poets. That has long been a source of inspiration for me. I love watching people pour themselves into their work and rise through that and lift each other up. I have always enjoyed science fiction and fantasy. I'm seeing as far out there as my mind can go, removing those boundaries within and seeing what happens. I feel it helps me create more effective boundaries as I go through the world. I love reading poetry from all ages. And lately, the friends that I have met online, this time has been, a prolific time of outpour for many, out of need, need to connect, need to express. And so I very much enjoyed witnessing that and experiencing it.
Okay, nice. I was about to ask you that, what kind of poets inspired you the most and who are your favorite poets?
Well, on the local front, I have truly enjoyed watching Tiana Clark and Destiny O'Birdsong as they have put out their books and reached wider audiences. It is so beautiful to watch those voices gaining the stage presence that they are so deserving of. And for older poets, I love Mina Loy very, very much. And Saul Williams, not so much older poet, but I have seen Saul live at a local rock club, and that was one of the most marvelous performances I've ever attended.
Okay, I need to. You gave me a lot of names to explore and read myself. Okay, so what is in your opinion, are some of the key challenges that poets faced in modern times?
Key challenges. There's such a glut of information. What I was talking about with the overwhelm, even more so, right? As we have all of this information at our fingertips and we're immersed in our screens almost all day, every day, I feel that it can be a mode of discipline to remove ourselves from that glut of information and get ourselves to a space where we have access to a little more quietude, peace, solitude, even maybe. As a mother, that's been challenging for me personally. I know that some people find the isolation to be quite difficult, and then other people find it difficult to process constantly being in the presence of others. So the challenges are individual and may shift from moment to moment. However, I do feel a lot of it is centered on this influx of information and being able to find the space where we are able to hone what it is that we would like to say with it.
I agree with you. You're very right about that. That is the case actually. And me and my husband were actually talking about that. There's so much influx of information, and then it is very difficult to find out what is accurate and what exactly is happening. The journey to find facts is very difficult nowadays.
Yes. the distillation process, getting to the essence of it, the common thread that rings true for everyone, because it's in there, right? And then we each have our own take on it. So finding our voice and not getting lost in the clamor.
Okay, so during my research, I found that a selection of your poems appeared on MTA buses in 2013. I found that personally that's such a great achievement. So tell us how it happened and how it felt to have your work published in such a public space. How was the reception? Would love to hear it.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. That is a self-published book. It was all of the poetry that I was carrying with me when I went to open mics or performed at various venues around town. I had this binder of loose poems and then my spiral notebooks, and it was just a mess. And I was thinking about taking it to a local print shop, and the quote to get it turned into a book was pretty high. So I looked on the internet at self-publishing outlets and was like, well, I think I'll do it this way. It's affordable. So I put it into a book. It was mostly for myself. At the time, though, there was a local open mic called Night of Free Speech at this very cool place, Cult Fiction Underground, an internal moment. It was a magical time. And they would show old horror movies there. They had like a velvet throne. It was a dark underground basement bar with toy rats, and I like to make trash sculpture there. It was a very inspiring place, and they welcomed me for a book launch event, which was super fun. And yeah, I ended up having to order another batch of books, so that was cool. The community here is very supportive, and I still get little royalty checks every year, and that's fun. I stand by my work, even though it's nothing like what I would come out with now. It was genuine to me at the time, and what's true is true is true. It's a human experience.
Congratulations for that. It's such a big thing. I mean, having your work published in a public space is like, wow. A lot of people dream to do that, and kudos.
Oh, I've always loved people who do things. So yeah, I recommend anyone who has that desire to see their name in print do things. And certainly it can sometimes be difficult to find a publisher that you connect with to the degree where they're putting out your own book. So, if you feel moved to put your own book out, I know that there are lots of beautiful self-published offerings, entirely worthwhile, and yours may be one of them.
Okay, so right now your Sinu Anthology project is in the pipeline. So when is it expected to be launched, and can you reveal something about that at this point?
I would love to. That is something that we were gladly able to find a publisher for, is a local nonprofit, April Gloaming, whom I respect so very much for what they put out and their attitude and the way they move through the community and engage with everyone. It's tantalizing and yes, exciting. I was thrilled to see the cover that their graphic artist, Drew Holden, came up with, really reflecting our body theme. So it's 76 contributors from all over the world exploring the theme of the body, whether that's in the spirit realm or the fleshly realm or the interactions between. And I was astounded by the response to it, the people who have chosen to contribute poems and just going through the selection process. I was so thoroughly moved. I can't wait to share these words with the world. It comes out August 24th. We're planning in-person and online launch parties where contributors will read selections, and we'll all just get to gather together and celebrate what we've been able to pull out and express with our voices during these times that have brought so many challenges to the crux, boiling point spilling over, and just ooh, that fine point within that makes it a necessity to say.
So have pre-orders begun? Can people buy it?
Yes, thank you. We have them available on our site. It's around on the web too. It'll be available through local bookstores before long. But for now, you can go to our blog, poetryinthebrew.wordpress.com, or direct to the shop, poetryinthebrew.bigcartel.com. And it's Sinu, 10 years of poetry in the brew. our 10th anniversary anthology.
What's the cost of the book if you would like to share with our audience?
Yes, it's $14.99 plus tax if it applies, shipping wherever you are, or if you happen to be local and want to pick it up at one of the launch parties or the readings once we're back in person very soon, we would love that as well.
Congratulations once again for putting out such a beautiful anthology. So I'm really excited about that. Anything you would like to share with up and coming writers who are thinking of writing professionally? Any advice you would like to give them?
Yes, I would encourage everyone to jump right in. It is an incredibly supportive community. I don't see much competition since the focus is on finding and sharing your own voice. Certainly, we all spark off each other's inspiration and elevate one another personally and professionally. No one else is going to say it for you. You've got to represent your own perspective, and the community is so ready to embrace every voice who brings their genuine viewpoint. It's needed. So yeah, I would encourage, go for it. Certainly attend readings as well, because the sharing of poetry in voice whenever possible is such an added dimension of that gift, inhabiting those words in every space, and yes, also keeping those boundaries so that you protect yourself and your creative urges and your practice, whatever it is that nurtures the self, that's going to allow it to be a sustainable practice.
That's a very good advice. I'm actually going to follow it myself now. So
I would do well to do it myself as well. So, we're always speaking to ourselves to a certain degree.
okay, so any poem that you would like to read, or a couple of poems, we would love to hear from you. Anything you would like.
Okay, thanks. Cool. Oh, let's see. I did not think ahead, but I do have the book like right next to me. I'm sitting at my little table from which I Zoom for Poetry in the Brew. So yeah, there's that book. And
one poem for you from you as well, the one that you wrote. I would love to hear from you. One of your poems as well, or even more.
One of my poems. Is that what you're talking about? Me sharing one of my own poems at this very moment?
Yeah, anything, and any other writers or your own. It's up to you.
Oh, okay. So if you originally were asking me for one from someone else, I could definitely grab that. I'm sorry if I misunderstood, because I was like, oh, sure, one of my poems. Yes, I will.
No, I'm actually asking about, your poems, but, if you would like to share, it's up to you. I would love to hear actually your stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to throw it back to that first poem that I ever had published, because I included it in this self-published book as well. I mean, it's something I wrote when I was so young, and it's quite an innocent poem, and yet, there's a place for that. I feel like I'm always speaking to the 15-year-old who is reaching out to know that they're not alone as they're coming into their identity. And yeah, all right. So I'll do this one, and then if I may, they're both very, very short. I'll do one other from the same book. This one is Truths. Truths are tied to these familiar things. Lies also. My familiar lies. He asked me, so I lied to him. To the vain world. To him. He can have it. I love these familiar things. They are mine, they are. Hate and denial and fear. But oh, fear is only a dream. And so I am dreaming. But when I wake, will I remember? Or will I forget to wake? That's that one. And then I'll do this one.
Nice. I love the message.
Thank you. And let's see, what have we got here? I've got one that I like to go to for times like this. Where is it? One moment. Yeah, okay. This one's called Risen. We were talking about the garden, so I'll go back there. The flowers like it when you talk dirty to them. This tree sacrificed its own limb for balance. Put on your fossilized blue jeans and wade into the grass with me. Let the waves of wind wash us. Soften the crust of cynicism. Whip away our sins. The crumbles are risen. Today, I thought I might smoke a 4-leaf clover. The truth does not live on fact alone.
Wow, I loved it. Any other poem you would like to read that you wrote? It could be recent or anything you wrote in the past, anything.
Okay. Let's see if I've got a new one. One moment. What do we have here? Oh, Okay. So many. I'm back to the loose binder method again. I think I need to publish another poetry book. You know what? I kind of like this one. It's called Calvary. 4 men on top of a building. I was one of them, watching from above, watching the man I was push 2 off in quick succession. Before the other noticed, they fell to the ground, clouded in mist or distance, and the 3rd man turned as I approached him, about to push again. They were bad dudes, I could tell it. Then he asked, would I be his mentor? A bad man in Mexico, I followed him, stole his cash, laptop, a piece of magical technology, had to hop a plane in his name and needed protection from him, heading me off at the airport. So I visited a witch doctor and she did her business without requesting payment. We were in cahoots. Yet I spread out all my pendants and searched for one to give her, a broken horse head, an owl missing a rhinestone eye. None of them sufficient as the payment that wasn't requested. I visited her granddaughter, tucked into bed, who was also my son. She said they'd kill her in the night. I wasn't so certain. She was my long lost friend, and she wondered if it was too late to get back with her husband. And I answered, you can have whatever you choose, like always. Her eyes could have rolled. Instead, they flashed. And I quoted Caroline, you are the only one here. Do you understand what that means? And we did, and cried at the magnitude of our freedom and loneliness. The wallet was made of fine upholstery leather, styled to fit a checkbook, and both pockets full of $1, $20, $100, and $120 bills. Surely some of them were marked. That was from a dream.
Wow, wow, wow. No words, I'm speechless. I loved it.
Thank you.
Okay, Christine, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll just, hope to see you soon. Hope the reception of Anthology is great. And we are really excited about it. Congratulations once again. And thank you so much. Thanks again. Okay.
Thank you, Fizza. I love watching your star rise, and I am so excited to see your name in print. Thank you so much for having me and talking with me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching the video. I hope you like it. If you like it, please hit a like or comment or even subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.